Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators in this beautiful community, and I'd like to set the intention of our practice today with a sentiment of metta. Alrighty. This is a little painting I did, and I write these little sentiments on the back. This one reads, "May you applaud yourself. Good job. May you applaud yourself. Good job." So let's take that in for a minute, because it actually reflects well with the topic that we're going to explore today, which comes from the book The Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life by Shantideva. If you're not familiar with Shantideva, he was an 8th century monk. And he basically created a roadmap for himself. He used the Buddhist practices and principles that he was studying at Nalanda University, and he wanted to create a map of understanding the causes and conditions in his own life, in his own mind, to alleviate suffering, to ease the way, to create peace, so that he could be of service to others. The chapter that we're going to begin today is chapter 7, Relying on Effort. And the sentiment of metta that we are setting as the intention today, may you applaud yourself, good job. We can applaud ourselves for the simple effort of showing up to a Recovery Dharma meeting. It doesn't matter if you are court ordered to be here. It doesn't matter if you don't want to be here and you're here anyway. It doesn't matter if you are like, yeah, well, I guess I'll show up. Whatever we throw up. The point is, what matters is that you're here. Even if you're half-heartedly here or an eighth of a heart here, you're here. And that matters. And that took some effort. You know, when you really think about it, and I'm encouraging you to think about it, there are a million other things you could have been doing with your time. But you prioritized this time. You turned on your phone or your computer. That's effort. You had to make sure it was charged and that you had the right charging cord. That's an effort. You had to create a Zoom account. That's effort. You had to tap several buttons to get here. That's an effort. We make you sit in a waiting room for a second. That's an effort. So many efforts. Maybe you're out of bed and you got dressed. Look at those efforts. Maybe you had a little luncheon. Effort. So many little big things that you did, actions and efforts to come here to this meeting. And may I say, we are the better for having you here. Let's applaud that for a second. You know, just an inward woohoo, hooray, go us, go team. We're doing it. It's amazing. And you know, maybe you're someone who is struggling today. Maybe you're here, but you're working with cravings. Maybe you're here and you've had a recurrence. Maybe you're here and you doubt your capacity for success. You're still here. And cravings, recurrences, and doubts are teachers. And they reveal opportunities for us to awaken to more conditions of our lives that cause misery, dissatisfaction, suffering. So let's take that into our posture, noble posture today. And if you want to, and if it feels available, go ahead and sit nice and tall. Straight back, soft belly, roll the shoulders up and back, lift the heart. Close your eyes and breathe. One of the fundamental aspects of our Recovery Dharma practice is the Noble Eightfold Path. This is the way to awaken to the conditions that cause misery in our lives. We cultivate wise understanding, wise intention, wise action, wise speech, wise effort, wise livelihood, wise mindfulness, and wise concentration. These aspects together frame our lives to keep us steady, focused, solid, true. Today, we're going to read a couple of verses from Shantideva's perspective on what it means to rely on effort. Remember, this is a translation by Geshe Kelsang Gyatso from an ancient practice. These are the words of Shantideva. When I find myself assailed by a host of delusions, I will oppose them in 1,000 ways. Like a lion among a group of foxes, I will not allow myself to be harmed by delusions. With the practice of patience, I should train in effort because the fruit of enlightenment depends upon it. Just as a candle flame cannot move without wind, so the collections of wisdom and merit cannot grow without effort. Effort is a mind that delights in virtue. Its opponents are the laziness of indolence, the laziness of being attracted to non-virtuous actions, and the laziness of discouragement. That's it. Let's keep it there. Nice and simple. I'd like to pick out a couple of words. I think they're activating words, which always makes me curious. You know, I like to, whenever I'm activated, I like to practice an instrument of peace I call ugh to ooh. So when I hear the word virtue, I'm like, ugh, ugh, all goody two shoes, holier than thou, ugh, ooh. What is that all about, Julia? Why does that bug you so much? Likewise, when I hear the word laziness, I get all up in arms and defensive. I'm not lazy. Ooh, look at that. What's that all about? So when I hear the word virtue in this chapter, effort is a mind that delights in virtue. I want to offer a synonym for what's coming alive for me. And I want to encourage you. I'm going to share this with you because I want to encourage you to find a synonym for the word virtue that comes alive in you. Effort is a mind that delights in being true. Effort is a mind that delights in being whole. Effort is a mind that delights in its capacity to hold good and bad, right and wrong, ugh and ooh. That's what virtue means for me, is my capacity to be holier than thou and my capacity to be unskillful, messy, sinful, mistaking, and so on. Let's talk about the word laziness. Effort is a mind that delights in being true, being whole, having the capacity to hold duality. Its opponents are laziness. A synonym that's coming up for me is something Pema Chodron refers to all the time, and I love it. It's something that she calls unconsciousness. When I go unconscious, and I do all the time, every single day, I step out of my practice. My mind loses its capacity to hold duality. My mind loses its capacity to stay true. And I get lazy. It's true. And in that getting lazy, what do? I tend to go back to some form of habit energy. I get distracted by any number of things. I turn on my phone, I turn on my TV, I go reach for some sugar. That unconscious, mindless habit energy is an expression of laziness because I'm not making the effort to practice. I'm not making the effort to do what I know I can do. Now, I could totally get down on myself, but that is also habit energy. So instead, the minute I notice that I'm engaged in this habit energy is the moment I reignite my effort with just a little bit of awareness. That's effort. To be aware. Oh, Julia, look at that. You just went unconscious. Why are you on your phone? Why did you open up the refrigerator? The answer to your boredom is not there. Huh, would you look at that? Effort. The laziness of being attracted to non virtuous actions, and the laziness of discouragement. For me, that comes alive instantly anytime I go on social media. And one of my favorite non virtuous actions is this righteous personality I take on as a keyboard warrior. I'm so right. I need to share my rightness with everybody. I need to point out all the ways they're flawed and wrong. I need to complain about the state of the world. And then, in all of that efforting and action that leads to basically nothing, I get discouraged and disappointed. All of it's lazy and silly and unskillful and not of particular benefit. And I can laugh at myself. Would you look at that, Julia? Silly goose. Come back to your practice. What is my practice? In that instance, my practice is a question. Why do I have to announce on social media my rightness? What is motivating that in this moment? If I'm feeling discouraged about the state of the world, what is my expectation? And what is one small action I can do to alleviate my discouragement? I may not be able to have any effect on the world, but I can have an enormous effect in my family, with my friends, and in my community. Each of these things is a world unto themselves. Yes? So rather than get discouraged of how ineffective I am on the world, I reshape my expectations and I put forth some effort in that reshaping and I rechannel my energy to areas of my life where I can have an effect, a very positive effect, and I'll put forth my effort there, alleviating all laziness. For the next few moments, in silence, I invite you to ask a couple of questions of yourself, and I encourage you to be really gentle about this. And simply ask yourself, what does effort mean to me? What does virtue mean to me? What does laziness mean to me? How can I put forth efforts to keep me engaged with my skillful habits, my skillful actions, and my wise mind? Enjoy your practice. Friends, one of the most extraordinary efforts we can make, and we can begin right now, is shifting the tone of the way we speak toward ourselves. So when we catch ourselves in an unskillful habit energy, rather than treat ourselves with the same old habit of diminishment, aggression, hostility toward ourselves, the negativity, we can begin cultivating a practice of gentleness, compassion, understanding, curiosity. That effort alone is life changing. It's world shifting. And may you feel encouraged by that effort. I'd like to end our meditation today chanting the beautiful honorific chant to Shakyamuni Buddha. And if you know this chant, you can chant with me. And if not, you can just enjoy it. I'll chant it 3 times. And I like to place my hands at the level of my heart. Tayata o muni muni maha muni soha. Tayata o muni muni maha muni soha. Tayata o muni muni maha muni soha. Let's go ahead and end our practice today with a dedication of merit. So in the Spokane Sangha, we often do a chant. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be healthy and strong. May you be safe and protected. May you live with ease. And so let's go ahead and I'll sing that for us in a kind of chant. And I really like the chant part of it because it allows us to really hear it. And I'm going to use the word we, so we can all be included in this. May we be happy and peaceful. May we be healthy and strong. May we be safe and protected. May we live with ease. Thank you for making the effort today. Thank you for inviting your practice to be perfect exactly as it is. Thank you for the inspiration that you leave in this space and the wisdom that you share.